Across the fence, winter in Vermont can be tough, especially for animals that are used to being on pasture. So we'll take a look at one approach to animal housing for the cold weather months that benefits the health of the animals as well as the environment. And we'll explore an after-school program in Winooski that's launching students into learning about technology. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. The University of Vermont Extension 4-H program has received a national grant to support STEM programming. That's science, technology, engineering, and math. Youngsters who participate in the 4-H programs engage in hands-on activities with a technology focus in small groups and informal settings. Rebecca Gollan takes a look at an after-school program at the Winooski Elementary School where students got their hands and feet on some rockets.
Students at the JFK Elementary School in Winooski are taking to the skies to learn about rockets. How did you make it?
It's pretty simple. I just wrapped a piece of paper around a tube, put my name on it. My partner put his name on it, and then we put a nose cone and a ring on it. You have this little black thing, and first you have to roll something up and put a little tube in, and then tape it and make it stuck so it don't move, and then you put this little black thing in it.
The nose cone makes it go higher and farther since when we had nothing on it, it kind of didn't do that well.
So the nose cone made all the difference?
Yeah. And so did the fins.
Yeah.
How far away should we make this from the launch spot, do you think?
This after-school program is a partnership of UVM Extension's 4-H and the Winooski School District.
This program really is focusing on getting kids interested in science and technology and math.
Catherine Blair is a teacher at JFK. She leads the group together with 4-H educator Rose Garitano. The group is celebrating National Youth Science Day and getting a helping hand with their rockets from UVM neuroscience major and current Miss Vermont, Lucy Edwards. 6 feet. Blair says that the hands-on curriculum that 4-H provides appeals to these 3rd and 4th graders.
They are collecting data, they are reassessing how their rockets are flying, continually taking in information like wind and the weather, and how that is influencing the rocket's sort of trajectory. And so it really sort of encompasses a lot of different skills, but there's some, there's definitely science skills. There's a lot of team building and social work being done because the kids typically work in groups. And then the kids actually get to go outside and fly something that's fun.
Air and oxygen makes them go up farther, and if you step on it harder, it make it go higher.
How did your rocket do?
Not too shabby, but a wing came off.
So how did your rockets do today?
Not that good. My first one was 6 feet away from our target, and my next one was 5 feet away.
Mine did good. Mine was 2 feet, and it was exactly lined up with it, and 3 feet, it was a little bit farther.
Throughout the course of the program, the students will make and test several different types of rockets. Teamwork and perseverance pay off as they build on what they've learned.
Designing something and then building it and then testing it and then looking at the data as far as what's going on and maybe what needs to be tweaked. And then coming back and actually working as a team is just, it's invaluable experience.
What makes them go further?
Moving the thing over a little bit and not stepping too hard, but stepping just right.
Now, was there something that you were doing out there to try and get it in the target? Were you aiming it?
Yeah, we were aiming it, but I only did 1 foot because I knew it wouldn't go that far and it was closer. I tried both of my foots the foot time, and then I did one of my foots, then I did my left foot.
And did that seem like it helped a little bit?
Sort of, but doing one foot was better.
By the end of the day, the students had some ideas about how to make their next rockets better. What do you think you might do on your next rocket to make it go a little further and more accurate?
Not putting a lot of stuff on it.
Next time I make a rocket, I am just gonna put 2 wings on.
Put a back fin on it.
Taking hands-on learning to the sky and giving kids a chance to see what happens. In Winooski, I'm Rebecca Gollin with Across the Fence.
Well, thank you, Rebecca, and our special thanks to Rose Garitano of the UVM Extension 4-H program, as well as the students and after-school staff at the Winooski Elementary School. To learn more about the 4-H and Youth Science Day in 2015, you can contact your local Extension office or the State Extension office at the University of Vermont. Our next segment focuses on a new idea that's gaining popularity with dairy farmers in Vermont and around the country. It's a housing system called Bedded Pack Barn. Bedded packs provide animals with large open areas for resting and chewing their cud. Proponents say the system can benefit both the animals and the environment. Across the Fence's Keith Silva brings us to a couple of farms that are using bedded packs.
On a cold, bright winter's day, the cows at Swallowdale Farm in Orwell are ready to pack it in.
This is our bedded pack. It's just like being on a feather bed.
From about November through April, these cows eat, sleep, and chill out in comfort on this bedded pack, sometimes called a loafing barn or a covered barnyard. It's a way farmers bring the outside inside.
Everything we do from the time that we bring the cows in off of pasture until we put them back out is really just a compromise. We're trying to duplicate the pasture environment as nearly as we can. There's all kinds of issues, all kinds of compromises, and this is the closest we've been able to come to duplicating that without moving south.
By letting the cows hang out and do what they do, this pack becomes a nutrient management tool and serves as a fertilizer source.
It's a combination of housing cows comfortably in the wintertime and storing manure, adding carbon to the manure so that we can compost it and stabilize it for future fertilization purposes. And then when it does end up being applied to the field, we hope that it's done in a timely fashion and very stable fertilizer that promotes biological activity in the soil and just does good things.
When winter ends and the growing season begins, the pack goes from looking like this to this. Mark and his wife Sarah have been farming all their lives. When they bought this farm, they knew from experience that it would come with its own set of challenges.
We moved here 8 years ago from a rented farm, came to these really very different facilities, and it took us a year really to understand the farm. We had a whole set of ideas of what we wanted to do, what we wanted to change before we got here. But after we were here for a year, we did change some of those ideas, and we were glad that we didn't do everything immediately. And definitely the bedded pack was one of those things. I don't think we didn't come here thinking that we were going to put a bedded pack in. We thought we were going to have a freestall because that's what was here.
The Russells were faced with a choice: renovate the freestall barn or come up with a different idea.
We tore the freestalls out and we were not committed to running a pack indefinitely. We can still add our freestalls back in. We can pour the concrete, put the steel in. The point is, you're not married to it necessarily just because you've cleared out the barn and run the pack. I mean, you can experiment with it and say, I'm never doing that again. And you can put your stalls in.
Russell estimates that it would have cost him close to $100,000 to make the necessary repairs to put in a new freestall barn. As it stands today, putting in this bedded pack has cost him much less.
It costs roughly $52 a day in bedding. It takes me 45 minutes to an hour to bed them a day. Compared to renovating the freestall and replacing the freestalls, really there's zero cost.
The Russells' low-cost approach is due in large part because they had an existing structure that they could use for their bedded pack. Other farmers have had to invest a lot more money or take part in government cost-share programs in order to build structures to house their bedded packs.
Over time, I've seen that it cost me about $10,000 from beginning to end to maintain and manage this type of system. That $10,000 you do need to figure every year, but if you look at the building, I think over time, the building itself isn't going to cost me much. But at least whatever I spend on the inside, I feel is a better return for me as a farmer because it all goes back to the soil.
Because all the manure gets composted before it goes back on the soil, farmers using bedded packs spend less on fertilizer, and there is very little nutrient runoff that ends up in waterways. The environmental benefits alone are reason enough for farmers to consider this type of system.
It can take a huge investment if you have to build a structure for it. The biggest challenge, though, is finding a source of available bedding. You don't want to be trying to do this and then run out of bedding midstream. And you have to be ready to be flexible if you don't have your bedding source on your own farm, if you're getting it from off the farm. You have to understand that you might be using different bedding from year to year, or you might be switching in the middle of the season, and be ready for that.
Herd size can be a determining factor in the feasibility of establishing a bedded pack. Each situation is different, but all management plans begin the same way.
Like any decision you're going to make, you need to sit down with a pencil, and that's going to be the first tool you use to do a bedded pack.
Bedded packs benefit the environment. In addition, farmers say that healthier cows are happier cows.
The feet and legs are stellar when they're on the pack. They're not on the concrete. Concrete is hard on feet and legs. It's just no bones about it. So the less time they spend on the concrete, the better.
I don't mean any disrespect to the well-managed freestalls around the neighborhood. There's some very comfortable cows out there. We have zero leg problems associated with stall barns. No swollen hocks, very little foot trouble. When you walk in and on a winter afternoon and those cows are all loafing on that pack, they're laying down, chewing their cud, and they're so comfortable. Other than actually being out to pasture, the bedded pack can't be beat.
At Swallowdale Farm, as long as the bed's made and the cows are comfortable, it's okay to leave the barn door open and let a little of the outside in. In Orwell, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
Thank you, Keith. And one final note before we leave you today. It's been almost a year since Across the Fence launched its Facebook page, and many of you viewers have joined us as friends. Our Facebook page offers you previews of upcoming programs, and you'll also find links to previous programs. Of course, Facebook is one of the many ways you can communicate directly with us, and you can share your thoughts about our programming. So consider joining us on Facebook and letting us know your opinions about Across the Fence. That's our program for today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. I'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.